Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So I'm really excited for today's video. This is my first book video that I've done on this channel. I am a huge reader. Like, I love reading so much. I've been a reader ever since I was really little. As you can see, my book collection is quite big. Do I want it to grow? Absolutely. I love books so much and I wish I could own all of the books, but this is some of my shelf. There's some more books around it, but this is the best angle I could figure out for today, lighting wise. I know it's a bit glary on my BTS poster, but it is what it is. That's the best it's gonna get. So for today's video, I thought I would do a what I've read so far in 2020. Don't think I'm gonna go in order. It's just gonna be, I'll pick up a book, I'll tell you what I remember, what I think about it, and everything will be spoiler free so that you guys can go pick up these books if you want to, which I highly encourage you to if they sound interesting to you. In total, so far, I've read 18 books so far this year, not including the one I'm currently reading. That's decent, I guess. I mean, not really, considering we're already ending August. But it's fine. Out of the 18 books that I've read, 2 of them were audiobooks and the rest I read physically. So that being said, I'm going to talk about the audiobooks first and just have the cover here because I can't really hold them up and speak about them. So up first we have The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave this book 5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, which I think was the best route to go for this book. This is about poetry and it is written in verse. So I had never read a book written in verse before and I don't own it, and one day I was cleaning, I was looking for an audiobook to listen to, and Elizabeth Acevedo actually narrates this audiobook, so I thought it would be perfect to listen to it and get the full experience. I mean, obviously as the author, she knows where to place the emphasis on words and what she wants it to sound like. So it was a really enjoyable experience. I really liked this book. I read it so long ago and within a day, I literally finished it within a day. Just like me cleaning my room, I finished it really fast. It's a really short audiobook. I really encourage you guys to pick it up. It's really good. I just remember the roller coaster of emotions I went through. I mean, it was a wild ride, and if you guys have like half a day even just to listen to it, I highly recommend it. This is gonna be a very long video. I just realized that. Also, I'm not the best at remembering certain things, so for some of them I might not remember fully what they're about, but it's fine. Is it even called verse or is it written in prose? What's the difference? I don't know. I sound so stupid right now. So the next audiobook I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was one of the first adult books I've read. I read a lot of young adult books, as you can see. It's just what I'm into. This was one of the first adult books I read, and I'd heard so much praise for this book. Like, everyone on BookTube has either read it or is going to read it or knows about it, something like that. So I really wanted to pick it up. I don't own it physically, so I just decided to go the audiobook route, which I actually really enjoyed. This is about Evelyn Hugo, and she is a huge starlet in Hollywood, and it is just about how she's had 7 husbands and dealing with why each marriage ends or why it began and just her rise to fame. It is so well done. It is from the point of view of a journalist. Evelyn Hugo calls her in to recount her life story to her, so we're getting flashbacks into Evelyn's life story and in Evelyn's point of view, as well as the present and from the journalist's point of view. I didn't really care much for our main character, the journalist. I don't even remember her name. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. If you see me looking at my phone, it's because I have a Twitter thread about all of the books I've read so far in 2020, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Anais is here, and that's like my book Twitter. But anyways, I mean, it was a ride. There are some twists, there are some turns. I absolutely loved it. The second half of this I listened to off and on with Gabby, and it was just, we were both like just silence, just dead listening, because it is so good, guys. Seriously, I really do highly recommend this. And if you think you're gonna have a hard time reading an adult book, I recommend going the audiobook route, just because it's easier to digest. It doesn't seem as like daunting almost. So I really do recommend this book. I absolutely loved it. We have some LGBTQ plus representation. We have women of color in this book. It's just, it's so good. I just love, I didn't even realize how much I loved it. The plot twist at the end was amazing. Ugh, it's so good. So I highly recommend it, as I do for most of these. If you guys notice that this video is a bit all over the place, it's because I've never done a book video like on actual YouTube before, and when it comes to books and talking about like a lot of books at once, my thoughts kind of go everywhere. As well as I just want this to feel like a cozy little hangout, and I'm just talking to you guys about books. So that's that. I'm gonna get my water because I'm very parched. So. Okay, so now on to the physical books. Up next we have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This was my first classic, I think. Oh my god, this is my first classic. I read it pretty early into the year and I really liked it. I had heard so many people talking about this because of the recent adaptation, the Greta Gerwig adaptation of Little Women. And so I heard so many people talking about it and reading it, rereading it, especially this edition, the Puffin in Bloom edition. I specifically wanted the book in this cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is very like short. I'll show you compared to, I guess compared to Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. It's very short compared to a normal hardback, and just very like little and like mighty. Does that make sense? It is a very chunky book. It is 776 pages. So this being my first classic, that was very scary to me, very daunting, for it to be close to 800 pages. So it did take me a little while to read, but I loved it. If you don't know, this follows the March family, and we have, I don't even know who it is in order. I don't remember anymore. I think it's Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, and we have these 4 sisters, and we're just following their life. It's a very cozy read. I wouldn't say it necessarily has a plot, to be honest. So if you're not a fan of character-driven stories, I don't think this is for you. I would recommend to check out the film though. But this is a very character-driven story. We mainly follow Jo, but we do see into the other sisters' lives. My favorite sister was Amy. I really liked her. I'm not the youngest child, but I always feel like I like the youngest ones more. Or just like, I don't know how to explain it. But I really like this book. I really do recommend it, and I really liked the film adaptation. I also picked it up because Timothée Chalamet plays Laurie in the film. So I wanted to read it before that. If you want to read it, go read it. Next book. Like, what am I supposed to say? Up next, we have 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This was the first book I read in 2020. I loved it. Obviously, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is about, I don't remember our main character's name. This is about Sophie, and she just got, is this in the, okay, yeah. I didn't know if this was in the description. I didn't want to spoil it. But this is about Sophie. Her parents go away on a trip during Christmas time to visit her sister. So she is left all alone, and she assumes, hey, this is fun. I get to spend time with my boyfriend. But it turns out her boyfriend wants a little bit more freedom in their relationship. So they end up breaking up, and she goes to stay with her family, her extended family. And this book is so big on the family dynamics, the family aspect. We meet so many characters to the point where it was kind of hard for me to keep track of who was who. I don't know if they have like a family tree in here. They do not, but I think I was gonna like make one on the side. I never did. I kind of just tried to remember who the heck is related to who. I mean, they're all related, but how they're all related. So yes, she goes to visit her family, and her family decides to help with her breakup. They are going to set her up on 10 blind dates. Each family member gets to choose who she's going on a date with and what the date will be, and she has to go on it. She only gets one out for all 10 dates. And yeah, it's amazing. I really loved the family dynamic. This is such a cute, fun, and fluffy, lighthearted contemporary. If you're looking for something around the holidays, that's when I recommend reading this, as it does take place during the holidays, as you can probably tell by the cover. I loved it. I had such, like, remembering reading this, I had such a fun time. It's just a fun book, a fun, easy read. The romance in this is really adorable, but the family aspect is what I really enjoyed about it. Having that big, like, family unit and dynamic, and seeing how close they all are, and her sometimes feeling like the outsider of the family, like she doesn't hang out with her cousins enough, and she doesn't really see them as much anymore because she doesn't live like right next door. That was so relatable to me, as most of my cousins do live in El Paso and I'm in San Antonio. That's like an 8-hour drive. So having that feeling of like, I don't see you guys enough, so it's just kind of like, yes, we're still family, but it's just kind of that feeling of everyone else is so close and I'm just kind of here. That was so nice to see represented in this book and how it was dealt with. So I absolutely loved it. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It deserves all the hype that it got on BookTube. Is it one of my all-time favorite books? Probably not. Maybe I need to reread it. I really need to start like reading the inside of this because I really do not remember. Next, I read I Love You So Mochi by Sarah Kuhn. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, so I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I give this 4.5 stars. This is about, I forgot her name. This is about Kimi, and she loves fashion. She wants to become a fashion designer, but she feels kind of stuck almost, just creatively, I believe. Never mind, all of that is wrong. Okay, so this is about Kimi, and she wants to become a fashion designer, but her mother doesn't necessarily approve of that career path. So she gets into a huge fight with her mother and then gets a letter from her estranged grandparents. She never really speaks to them, so it is very odd for her to get this letter, and it is a letter inviting her to visit them in Japan. So she ends up going to Japan and visiting them, and it is just about her journey of deciding what she wants to do in life, getting close with her grandparents, trying to figure out why their relationship has been so strained, and just exploring life, exploring her culture, exploring all of that. And I really, really enjoyed it. She has a love interest, Akira. Again, if I'm saying any of the names wrong, I'm so sorry. Don't cancel me. But it's just adorable. Akira works at a mochi place. His uncle, I believe, runs like a little mochi shop. It's really, really cute. The one thing that stands out to me that I vividly remember from this is her relationship with her grandfather. I never met any of my grandfathers. Like, there's so many. I never met my grandfathers. They both passed away either when I was very young or before I was even born. So I never had that like grandfather figure in my life, I guess. So seeing her have a relationship with her grandfather was so adorable. I mean, he was such a cute little like old man. Like, he was really into model trains, and he would take apart the little trains and put them back together, and he would constantly like sneak candy, and they would go out for candy together. Like, he was just so sweet and loving of her, and I just really, really liked it. Not to mention the cover is absolutely beautiful. The aesthetics of this book I mean, come on, the pink, everything. Ugh. So if you're looking for something during spring or even summer, but I would recommend this more so during the springtime. If you're looking for a quick read, this is one for you. It is under 400 pages. Yes, it is like right around 306 pages. It's really adorable and fluffy and cute, and the atmosphere is very vivid. The atmosphere is very well described, so you really feel like you were there in Japan with her, exploring and seeing everything for the first time and getting so excited over first loves and getting excited over her future and wanting to become, like, knowing what you want to be and striving towards that. So that was that. I read this in February. I don't know. It's not really relevant. Okay, we're just gonna Then I went on to read or reread P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I don't have it here. I'm currently lending it to Gabby. I only have the first one and the second one. But P.S. I Still Love You is the second book in the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is my favorite out of the 3 books. Not much to say about it. That is, those books I love so much. So I definitely highly recommend you pick up the first book and continue on with the series. So next I read The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I gave this 3.5 stars. This was my first adult book, so that's why I was saying Evelyn Hugo was my second. This was my first adult book and I was so proud of myself for reading it. This was getting so much hype on BookTube that I knew I had to read it. I talked my mom into buying it at Barnes & Noble's. I was like, oh my god, you're gonna love this book. Like, just because I didn't want to buy it and then, like, not read it or, like, not like it. So I had her buy it and then I read it and she still needs to read it. But this follows Rowan and she's looking for jobs and she finds one for a live-in nanny at this beautiful, like, huge mansion in Scotland, I believe. The Scottish Highlands. So she goes, it is for being the nanny to 3 girls, sorry. The oldest one was away at boarding school for a bit and then she comes back, so I got confused. But the house is completely a smart house, if you will. Everything is run by apps, and so it makes for a very interesting setting. I mean, the doors locking, the lights turning on, the speakers, the water, like everything is run via an app, and weird stuff starts to occur while she is there. And this is interesting because it is written through letters to her lawyer because she is currently in jail for the murder of one of the children she was babysitting. So we get to see her side of the story and what led up to the death of one of the children and all of that. It was very interesting. It was extremely slow in some parts. I think some parts were extremely unnecessary, to be honest with you. But it was a really interesting read. It was creepy at times. It wasn't scary by any means, so definitely don't be scared to pick this up. It was a bit eerie is the word. It's definitely a thriller, but I'd say it's like a light thriller. Especially this being my first thriller, it wasn't by any means like terrifying. I could definitely sleep well at night. I was good. I just think it could have done without some of the just boringness of it, but overall I did like it. I do recommend picking it up if it sounds interesting to you. It was definitely an interesting concept, and everyone that I saw talk about it here on BookTube, it was the plot twist for them. They were like, everyone would record their reaction to the ending and the plot twist and, you know, finding out the conclusion to the story in the end and all. I predicted the plot twist. I just got like one little detail wrong and like switched, but I predicted the plot twist, so it wasn't that much of like a to me, but it was pretty good. That kind of took away a lot of the hype for me, honestly, me predicting what happened, because it's kind of just like, it's kind of boring then, but I still enjoyed my time with it. And yes, I liked it, but I didn't love it. That's why, like, 3-star isn't bad to me. It's just kind of middle of the road. It was there. Definitely not one of my favorites and not that memorable. Just kind of there. The next book I picked up is The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. This is actually a children's book, but I had seen so much hype about it here on BookTube, so I decided to pick it up. This book follows Ivan. He is a silverback gorilla living in a mall, like zoo type attraction, but in a mall, and they get in this new elephant named Stella, and it's just about him and his friendship that he grows to have, that doesn't make sense. The friendship that they blossom, I guess, I don't know. It's just about them becoming friends and him trying to figure out how to get Stella out of this mall situation, because this definitely isn't the place for animals to be. So yes. Oh my god, no, her name isn't Stella. Where the heck did I get Stella from? The elephant's name is Ruby. Was her mom named Stella? Who is Stella in this book? There's definitely someone named Stella in this book. I just don't remember who it is. I think it might be the little girl that goes to visit him a lot. So there's like a janitor and he has a daughter, and she loves seeing Ivan and visiting Ivan. It was really, really cute and adorable. I really liked it. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is written, once again, in verse. So, I mean, it is really easy. My mom's reading it right now. It is really easy to get through. Some pages literally only have like 2 sentences on it. There's no excuse for you not to pick this up. Disney is turning it into a film. If they had made this movie animated, I think it would have been adorable. Like, I would kill to see that. But they went the live action route, and I think that was the downfall. The next book I read was Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This is actually a library copy that I need to return. But I gave this 4.5 stars. This was pitched to me via BookTube. This was pitched as Mulan meets Project Runway. So it is about a world in which all of the seamstresses and the like sewers are supposed to be men. It is a male-dominated job. So our main character Maya is one of the best. She learned from her father, and she decides to go in place of her father when the kingdom calls on her dad. He is too weak to work and to be a seamstress, so she dresses up and goes in place of him. So that's where you get the whole Mulan aspect. This was interesting. I don't remember a lot of it, to be honest. That's why my description is probably not very accurate and not very good. But I did like it. I don't read a lot of fantasy, like, at all. I definitely enjoyed it. This wasn't one that I would say left a lasting impression. Obviously, I can barely recall anything. I know there is a romance aspect in here that gets pretty... It gets more prevalent towards the later half. But overall, I enjoyed it. Wasn't anything too special. This is the first in a series. I know the second one is already out, but I feel like I already forgot too much to where I can't go into the next one because I just wouldn't remember anything really. I did actually really enjoy this when I was reading it. It definitely kept my attention. So if you don't really read a lot of fantasy, I would recommend this. It's not hard to digest. The map in the beginning did scare me a bit. Whenever books have maps, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be complicated, and that's why they need to put a map, because I'm dumb and I won't remember. The next book I picked up is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This is another library book. I give this one 3.75 stars. This follows Frances, and she's an artist. It just says she makes fan art for her favorite podcast, Universe City. And one day she gets a message from the creator of Universe City asking if she can do fan art, or actually official art now, for the podcast. And it turns out it is this boy named Aled who goes to her school. And they become best friends, and it is just about their friendship dynamic. This book is super heavy on, I'd say the main plot is their friendship. This does have some LGBTQ plus representation. I don't remember a lot of it. I know towards the end, for me personally, it was kind of dragging. This does have a lot of mental health representation as well, following Aled and his side of the story. This book is so highly talked about on BookTube that I thought that I would enjoy it so much more than I did. So I think that's why it fell a little bit flat for me, is because it's so hyped up. Was it good? Yes. Do I think it was a bit long and it didn't need to be? Yes. Is it memorable for me? No. I honestly can't tell you much about it. Other than the friendship dynamic was a major plot point, if not the main plot point of this book. So if you were into best friend dynamics in stories, this one is definitely for you, but know going into it that there is some heavy mental health stuff within here. So next I read both Shiver and Linger by Maggie Stiefvater. Let's talk about these books because I just think they're funny. So Shiver I gave 4 stars and Linger I gave 3.75. So this series, I don't even know what the series is called. Is it literally just called The Extraordinary Series? I hate that. Anyways, so these 2 books are about wolves. So think like on the trash level of like Twilight almost. Like, I know these aren't good. No hate to Maggie Stiefvater. I want to read The Raven Cycle. I know these aren't good. Like, they're just not. They're very like trashy, like YA werewolf books, but I think they're funny. So the first book, Shiver, follows Grace, and she has spent a lot of her life watching the wolves in her backyard. She lives like by a forest. So she spends a lot of time watching them, in particular one wolf that has like yellow eyes. That's like what stands out about him. And then it follows Sam, who, you can guess, is a wolf. And they fall in love. That's literally all you need to know going into it. I think it's so much better if that's all you know. I say these are trash, and like, yes they are, but they're also really fun to read. Like, immediately after reading this one, I was like, okay, I need the second one, and I ordered the second one with my Barnes & Noble gift card. So yeah, it just follows that and the mysterious things that are happening around the town regarding the wolves and the pack. The pack. And then Linger follows the same set of characters. I can't really talk about this one because, you know, it is the sequel. There are 2 more books left in this series, and I need to continue it before I forget everything that happened. These are pretty simple to follow, I'd say. Like, you don't forget too much. I remember, honestly, a lot of it. Is the writing great? I mean, it's not, it really is not terrible. Something that I think is really cool about this series, I'm not sure if it continues in the later books, but as you can see, the cover on here is blue, and the text as well is in blue. This cover is green, and the text is in like a dark forest green. So I think that's really cool. I enjoyed my time reading them. There's some very, very interesting and funny quotes. If you want to see me reading Shiver, I don't think I made one for, oh, I did make one for Linger. So if you want to see threads of me reading and reacting to Shiver and Linger, it is on my book Twitter. Once again, at Anais is here. I do currently reading threads where I will react to books as I read them. The next book I picked up is Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali. This looks like a very lighthearted contemporary, but it definitely deals with some heavy topics. It deals with sexual assault and following our main character, Jana. I'm not sure if that's how you say her name. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but just her story dealing with that. The description on this book is super vague, and I think it's best you go into it like that. So I'm not going to say too much, also because I don't really remember a lot of it. But our main character, Jana, dealing with sexual assault and high school and being Muslim and just dealing with being a teenage Muslim girl, going through what she's going through and dealing with what has happened to her. This book was a pretty fast read for me. I don't really remember a lot of it, to be honest, but I think it's best you go into it not knowing a lot, seeing as how the synopsis itself is very, very vague. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I think the cover's beautiful. I didn't hate it. The writing wasn't terrible, but it was nothing spectacular to me. So that is that. Much like the last book, the next book was nothing special to me. Next up we have Bright Lights, Dark Nights by Stephen Emond. I'm not sure which one it is because I am dumb. I give this one 3 stars. We follow the son of a police officer falling in love with a black girl and them dealing with the racism that the world has. I mean, it is so prevalent. I mean, thinking about it even nowadays and in the time that we're in, it's very, very interesting. But it just follows the struggles that they go through, being a biracial couple and having his dad be a police officer. It's just really interesting and really frustrating. Honestly, it was really frustrating at times to see what they had to put up with. They were just 2 teens trying to be in love and trying to literally just date. Like, just fucking let them date. It was insane how frustrating this was at times. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Once again, 3 stars, middle of the road for me. I think it's really interesting the way it is. We have a lot of like illustrations and the text is very bold. Let me see if I can find one that's like more full spread. Here we go. So we have pages like this. Yeah, just characters making some stupid decisions. It was interesting. It wasn't the best. I think it was like a letdown for me because I had heard that it's kind of like sad and very like heartbreaking, but I wasn't that invested in their relationship chemistry wise. I just didn't ship them that much, but I think this story was an important one to tell. In that regard, I think it was good, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. Oh my god, wait, I got the number of books I've read wrong because I forgot to talk about this one and like put this one in there. So next up we have the Henna Wars. I do not know how to pronounce the author's name because I'm uncultured, but I will show you the cover here. I don't want to mispronounce it. Adiba? I'm not sure. That might be wrong number. Sorry. This is a gorgeous cover. This is one of my favorite covers that I have on my shelf, actually. I keep it facing this way because I think the cover is just so beautiful. In this book, we follow Nishat, and there is a school project where you have to create like your own little business, and so she chooses henna because she loves doing henna. She's pretty good at it, and we see the love interest Flavia kind of copying her almost. She decides she's also going to do henna for this business project, and it just follows their love story. This is obviously a female-female romance, and I really liked it. I don't read a lot of books that have female-female romance. I haven't come across a lot, especially young adult, contemporary female-female romance. I gave this book... Oh, it's not on here. I gave this book, I think, 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I read it really fast. I think I read it within like 2 or 3 sittings. It's pretty short. It brings up some interesting points on cultural appropriation and bullying, and just it deals with a lot, especially Nishat coming out to her parents and dealing with that because they are so worried for her. Really, it's just the worry of her not being accepted by everyone else. So I thought this was an amazing book. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I didn't even realize how much I really liked this book until now. A lot of it was frustrating because of this like one side character that we have that is like, I think it's Flavia's cousin. Like, she literally sucked. Like, oh my god, she was the worst and really annoying. But their romance throughout this competition and like seeing them try to be together but fighting, and you know, the competition coming between them and the business and all of that, it was just really, it was a good read, so I highly recommend it. So up next we have most of the Harry Potter series. we have the first 4 books in the Harry Potter series. So first off, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, all by J.K. Rowling. I don't like her, so we're not gonna like talk about her personally. She sucks as a person. But onto the books, the literature. I never wanted to read Harry Potter. Let's talk about this. I never wanted to read Harry Potter because I felt like it was constantly being shoved down my throat. Especially within BookTube, it seemed like everyone's favorite series was Harry Potter. Or like everyone just, even if it wasn't their favorite, they like absolutely loved Harry Potter. And I was just like, okay, come on guys, like it really cannot be that good. Like literally just shut up. It annoyed me so much. And so like a year ago or so, I came up with a video idea where I would read Harry Potter for the first time. And I think I might have a couple clips of like me attempting that video. I'll insert them here. We have an update. I'm now about to be on chapter 6 and I'm really liking it so far actually. I didn't think I would like this much, but I'm loving it. This is just really good so far and I'm really excited to continue it. So I'm not even like halfway through, but I already don't want it to be over. I'm like really gonna need the next book, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it soon because of like everything going on. I want to get so much of this done tomorrow, but I also don't want it to be over. So just like you just saw like quick snippets, that video failed. It just did. But I ended up loving it. And my friend Lily, shout out, told me that I would love it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not gonna like it because I don't want to like it because it's just like so overhyped to me. But I freaking love it now. I'm a Hufflepuff. Hufflepuffs, comment down below. Comment down below your Harry Potter house. And if you don't know, you can take the sorting hat quiz. So comment down below your Hufflepuff house or what house you think you might be in. So I'm a Hufflepuff. I think that's very, very accurate. But as far as this goes, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, this is the first book in the series. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like I don't need to explain what it's about. Harry Potter finds out he's a wizard, goes to Hogwarts, School for Magic, yes. So we have the first book, and then obviously I absolutely needed the second one like ASAP. So then we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which I gave 4.5, I believe. Again, can't talk too much about the plot because it's a series and it would spoil the first one for you, but I enjoyed it. Oh, also, after finishing each book, like immediately after I finish it, I go and watch the movie. So I know this movie was the most accurate by far. As the books get bigger, they try and condense more and more into the film and it just gets interesting to say the least. This one I really liked. I'm trying to think if this is like a spoiler, and it kind of is. In the first 2 books, I didn't like how the villain or like the mystery almost was basically the same thing in both of them. Like not the same thing, but like the same thing. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't enjoy that, and I thought that it would carry into the 3rd as well, but thank God it didn't, because that would have been like it's just kind of like, again, really, you know what I mean? So then we have the 3rd book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. This is a lot of people's favorite, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. Like the beginning, I think, to me was really slow. Like something about it just kind of lagged a bit in between the beginning and the middle, like just kind of like there, in which I think a lot of people don't like Chamber of Secrets, but I liked the pacing of this one. Does that make sense? I feel like I've read these so long ago that I'm getting like all of them like they're just combining and I'm not remembering what happens in which one. I obviously gave this one 5 stars for a reason. It was really, really good. I liked how we finally got away from the ending being the same thing, same villain almost. I liked that a lot. I liked the twist of this one. Yes, we're starting, definitely going from the first 2 to this one. It's a big jump. This one's a lot more, it's starting to get a lot more mature and heavier, almost more serious, with it still being middle grade. And then the 4th book, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I heard that this one was sad. Like I heard that everyone was like, oh my god, this one is so sad, and like it's definitely like a lot darker than Prisoner of Azkaban, and it's definitely a lot heavier, especially towards the end. Like you really feel it, like it all comes like at once. This book was so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I know this is a lot of people's favorite in the series. I'm not done with it, so I don't know yet, but It was really, really good. I did cry while reading this. And then I did immediately watch the movie, and the movie is my absolute least favorite. I hated it so much. Which is so funny because I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, but the movie, is it just me, or is like that the worst Harry Potter movie? Because I haven't finished them, obviously, but I don't know if like that's everyone's least favorite, or if there's like a specific movie that like is universally hated within the series. But the Goblet of Fire movie felt like it was like 5,000 years to me, and it was also just really bad. Like they changed a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense to me, and I don't understand why they changed it. I don't know, just stuff about it. Same with Prisoner of Azkaban. They changed certain things that it was just like, why wouldn't you just at least try and leave it in? Just like try, because it makes so much more sense in the books. So if anything, I highly recommend you guys read the Harry Potter books. I know the movies are just obviously easier to watch because it's just like an hour, 2 hours, whatever, but I highly recommend the books, even if you think you're not gonna like them. Obviously, I literally was the exact same way. I thought I was gonna hate them, but I absolutely love them. So, Goblet of Fire, 5 out of 5 stars. And then I am currently reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is the 5th book. I'm on chapter 9, so like 152 pages in. I'm really liking it so far. I haven't been reading as much lately because I got a dog. And Peppa is a lot of work. That is everything Harry Potter wise. I absolutely freaking love it, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. I love my little tradition of like reading it, and then once I get to like a certain point at the end, I'm like, okay, I can push through. I'm gonna finish it tonight, and then I end up watching the movie, usually while eating dinner. It's just such a like fun tradition to me, and I really, really love being in this world. The first like 2 books are very just like cozy and like comforting almost. Like it's just a really nice series to be in. Now that I'd say like Goblet of Fire going into Order of the Phoenix, it's a lot heavier, and just feeling that like that weight, it's like, oh my god, like dang, it's like it's happening, you know what I mean? The only way I can think to explain it is within those 2 books, shit gets real. But I absolutely freaking love it. I need to get the next books in the series. That was my first book video. I know it was all over the place. I'm gonna get better at it, I promise you. This definitely is not my last book video. I freaking love reading, and I love talking about books so much. I'm very, very passionate about it. I'm very sorry that my thoughts were all jumbly. And I know this is going to be a long video, so if you've made it to the end, thank you so much. I know this is going to be really, really long, and I'm really, really sorry. Hopefully my book videos in the future won't be as long. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your Hogwarts house, and comment down below your favorite book, if you have one. So, that is it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. I'm getting back into posting. I'm pre-filming videos so that Alec will have videos to edit and get up on time, somewhat regularly. All my socials will be down below and all of that. So, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I hope I inspired you to pick up one of these books. If any of them sound interesting to you, obviously pick them up physically. If you can't, audiobooks from your library, they are free, and they make reading a little bit easier if you are very busy and don't have the time to physically read. Love you. Bye. I don't know why so many people hate Hufflepuffs. Like, we're just nice. Like, we're literally just nice.